Thank you so much.
All right, that was great. Peggy?
Can I sing? So I was not trained opera. I am. Okay.
Can I know where you're going to stand?
Sure. Show you.
Please be seated. I am Tawanda Jordan, and it is my privilege to serve as president of St. Mary's College of Maryland, the National Public Honors College. We open all our events by offering an example of how St. Mary's College of Maryland continues to work toward acknowledging the truth in our history. Our college initiated a land acknowledgement and pledge to be read at the start of each campus event. Permit me to share it with you now. We acknowledge that the land on which we are learning, working, and gathering today is the ancestral home of the Yakokomiko and Piscataway peoples. We also acknowledge that St. Mary's City was partly built and sustained by enslaved people of African descent. Through this acknowledgement, we recognize these communities and all those who have been displaced and enslaved through colonization. Given the unique importance of the land on which we sit, and given the unique mission of St. Mary's College of Maryland as a National Public Honors College, we pledge to continue to unearth and understand these historic realities so that they inform all of our work. We also pledge to work tirelessly in making our institution more accessible, inclusive, and equitable, especially for those populations most affected by societal inequities. We do this with the understanding that by supporting and learning from all of our diverse communities, we build a more sustainable future for all. Thank you. With great pleasure, I now open the 55th May Commencement Ceremony of St. Mary's College of Maryland as a 4-year degree granting institution. With me on the platform are esteemed colleagues, members of the Board of Trustees, and honored guests, including our commencement speaker and honorary degree recipient, Congressman Jamie Raskin, and St. Mary's College trustee, Congressman Steny Hoyer. I would like to introduce our board chair, John Bell, class of 1995, and invite him to the podium to bring greetings from the St. Mary's College Board of Trustees.
Good morning. Thank you, President Jordan. As you preside over your final commencement as president of St. Mary's College of Maryland, we pause to reflect with deep gratitude on the legacy of leadership you've built over these past 11 years. Your unwavering commitment to our students has been the compass guiding this college forward, always with purpose, always with heart. As you prepare to close this extraordinary chapter, we will remember your presidency as a time of remarkable growth and transformation, a spirit that echoes every year on this stage, and especially today. As an alumnus, I remember what it felt like to sit in those front rows, filled with excitement about my path ahead. And now, 3 decades later, I feel that same sense of hope and possibility standing before the class of 2025. That's the magic of this place and the mark of your influence, Dr. Jordan. Thank you from all of us for taking the lead. Let me also extend a warm welcome to the families, dignitaries, special guests, faculty, staff, and friends who join us on this joyful occasion. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, it's my great pleasure to welcome Congressman Jamie Raskin as our honored guest and commencement speaker. Thank you for being with us today, Congressman. And what a thrill it is to stand before the class of 2025. You are just moments away from joining the ranks of Seahawk alumni, perhaps even future trustees yourself. As you celebrate this milestone, allow me to offer these brief reflections on behalf of the board. First, to your families, thank you for trusting us with your students. We hope you see, as we do, the capable and courageous individuals they've become. The future they are shaping is one we can all take pride in. Second, to our extraordinary faculty and staff, your passion, mentorship, and relentless pursuit of excellence have shaped the minds and spirits of today's graduates. You are the beating heart of this institution. I know firsthand how those bonds endure. Many of my most meaningful relationships from college are still with me today. Again, that's 30 years. That is what makes this place so special. And finally, to the class of 2025, you inspire us. You carry with you the values and the sense of purpose that define the St. Mary's Way. Wherever your path takes you, keep that fire lit. Lead boldly, lead generously, and continue to bring great honor to our college. But right now, take it all in. Celebrate fully. You've earned every moment. Congratulations.
Members of the class of 2025, in the spirit of the St. Mary's Way, you have persevered through the challenges of the past few years with tenacity, patience, and focus, balanced, so importantly, with a bit of fun. We trust your journey with us has given you the leadership tools necessary to have productive careers and exemplary lives displayed with grace and humility. To the families, your student is on the cusp of a new set of experiences for which the education they have received has provided a firm foundation. We at the college are confident they will make their mark on a society sorely in need of not only bright and inquisitive minds, but also individuals who will proceed with focused determination, guided by empathy and compassion for humanity. Families and friends, we honor your roles in preparing our graduates. With your sacrifices, commitment, and support, you are the partners who deserve much of the credit. Students, I know the depth of your admiration for the faculty and staff. Their high expectations and insistence on academic rigor and moral integrity created the transformational climate of learning that you have come to know as your honors education. Faculty and staff, please rise to be recognized by all of us for imparting a truly exceptional experience to the graduates of the class of 2025. Thank you for challenging our graduates and leading them to success. Faculty, thank you, please. Please be seated. While honoring our students and celebrating their achievements, I also must acknowledge the 4 faculty members who retired during this year. Beth Charlebois, Professor of English, Sandy Ganzel, Professor of Mathematics, Walter Hill, Professor of Political Science, and Andrew Andy Koch, Professor of Chemistry. Their many years of teaching are a testament to the passion and commitment with which our faculty approach their work. Professors, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Special recognition should also be given to the countless staff members who have been dedicated to making this culminating event a success. Let us thank the St. Mary's College staff who think up, work up, set up, and yes, who will later clean up so that we may honor our new graduates today. Class of 2025, we are proud of what you have accomplished during your time with us. Please do this world and your honorable professors a favor. Recognize and understand the society in which you are now venturing. Give back. Remember the people who have not had the same opportunity, the same blessings, the same education you have. Live the St. Mary's way. I look forward with great anticipation for what you will do in the future. Now I would like to call to the podium our Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of Faculty, Catherine Gantz.
Good morning. We're pleased to welcome our own Dr. Karen Anderson, Professor of English and poet, to the podium, who will assist us today in marking the day with a reading that she's chosen.
I hope I am of much assistance. Good morning. Ross Gay, who is the patron saint of joy in poetry, is the poet I picked for today. He writes specifically of the joy of Black life, and as a poet, he's especially skilled in knowing that joy always contains sorrow, as I'm sure you've found today. You've studied, you've learned, you've sometimes failed. You've, in the end, succeeded. And in doing so, you've lived a life here of both sorrows and joys that you now have to leave. What you've done along the way, though, here at St. Mary's College of Maryland, is learned in community with so many like-minded people, other students, faculty, staff, the local people living and working around you, and you've done it surrounded by other forms of community, the sycamores and the geese and the various incarnations of meatball and the river, all of us striving to thrive, trying to take pride and joy and satisfaction in our day-to-day choices, as well as building towards our practical goals, our far-off dreams. The late, great Gwendolyn Brooks, whom Ross Gay loved, tells us in a celebratory poem to forego the tearful tale of bale and barge and other symptoms of an old despond, because she says, we are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. And it's this truth that real learning is always learning together that is so hard to remember in a world that increasingly pits us against each other, tells us that someone else's suffering is our gain. Gay contradicts this entirely. True joy, real joy, he insists, comes not from our individual accomplishments, but from the way that our accomplishments grow from and build toward each other's, the way we bond together to survive and meet the challenges and injustices that are always hurtling our way, the way that if one of us is hurt, we are all hurt, the way that if one of us is saved, we are all, in some small way, saved. For we share these bodies, this place, these risks. Whatever comes next, whoever you are going to be, you get to wake up and remember the magnitude of belonging here, the sense that once you worked and lived and learned together, and you can do it again. But for now, soon it will be over, as Gay says in a very long poem that I will not read to you, called The Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude, that tells of a dream he's had. Soon it will be over, which is precisely what the child in my dreams said, holding my hand, pointing at the roiling sea and sky hurtling our way, like so many buffalo, who said, it's much worse than you think, and sooner. To whom I said, no, duh, child in my dreams, what do you think this singing and shuddering is, other than loving every second what goes away? Goodbye, I mean to say, and thank you every day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. It's now my pleasure to introduce the 5 students who have earned the honor of serving as valedictorian. While only one will deliver the valedictory address, we want to take a moment to say a few words about each of them and their accomplishments. Devin Gorel is a double major in computer science and mathematics. He'll be starting a career as a software engineer at Microsoft this July. Devin is a member and a captain of the varsity tennis team, as well as a member of the climbing club. Robert Kuntz is a marine science major. He is a 13-year Navy veteran with prior jobs in submarine sonar principles, recruiting, and weather forecasting. Future prospects involve pursuing jobs at Y-12 National Security Complex and Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and will be moving to Tennessee with his wife and 2 dogs. Morgan Kresslein is a neuroscience and biology double major and part of Phi Beta Kappa, Beta Beta Beta, Nu Rho Psi, and Chi Alpha Sigma Honors Societies. A member of the women's soccer team and 2-time recipient of the United East Elite 20 Award for her academics, Morgan plans to pursue a master's degree in genetic counseling. While at SMCM, Morgan was a tutor, a teaching assistant, and participated in directed research in genetics. Sam Parizek is a political science and English double major, a former member of the Washington program, having interned under Representative Steny Hoyer and a peer tutor at the Writing Center. Sam is looking forward to entering local politics and to later pursue a graduate degree. And finally, Elena Sievert is a mathematics major and an educational studies minor. She is a captain of the women's varsity volleyball team and a member of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. She was a teacher's assistant and received the Maddie M. Key Mathematics Award and the Algebra Prize. After graduating in 3 years, Elena will begin teaching high school mathematics in Calvert County, where she hopes to coach volleyball and softball as well. Our valedictorians have excelled academically at St. Mary's College. It's clear, however, that their impact on the college has extended well beyond the classroom. Please join me in congratulating all 5 of our 2025 valedictorians. Earlier this week, our qualifying valedictorians drew lots to determine who would speak before you today. I ask that you now welcome Sam Parizek to the podium to deliver the valedictory address.
Hello, my name is Sam Parizek, and for the past 4 years, I've been a political science and English double major, which hopefully I reflect in what I'm about to say. But firstly, I want to congratulate everyone for making it through to today. For some, it's been 3 years, for others, 5 or more, but we're all here, and that's simply wonderful. I'd also like to especially congratulate the other valedictorians, Devin, Robert, Morgan, and Elena, of whom I was chosen to give this speech by sheer chance. I would also like to thank my parents, my friends, my girlfriend Emma, and the innumerable professors who have helped me on this journey. Instead of adopting a nostalgic tone for this speech, I want to focus on the future rather than the past. I want to frame commencement not as the end of 4 years, but the start of a new stage of life. The word unprecedented is overused, and it seems everything in our lives has been unprecedented. Yet the world we are entering now holds a new level of unprecedentedness. unprecedented instability and destruction of norms, unprecedented assaults on what is considered legitimate, unprecedented threats to the very social fabric we rest on. These call for an equally unprecedented response of resistance. This comes in kindness. Often overlooked, undervalued, and trite, yet tacitly understood to be necessary, it goes forgotten and taken for granted. But an unwavering and unflinching commitment to kindness is an unwavering and unflinching commitment to the values of this school, to the values of a liberal education, to the values of humanity. And from political division to AI, humanity is what is at stake in the world we are entering. And what I feel is the core principle of what makes humans and humanity so special is a deep-seated, yet often untapped and neglected potential for infinite kindness. When I interned with Representative Steny Hoyer last summer, the most lasting thing he said to me was that all the division we see at the national level merely reflects the division that exists at the individual local level. Thus, it seems that perhaps the answer to our problems doesn't reside solely at the higher up level, but instead, we can recognize that a real power lies and is generated at the lower, personal, interactive level. Our position is not solely reactive or passive, but is brimming with agency, waiting to be energized and employed. I would suggest then that we proceed in our lives in this nebulous world not on autopilot, but through conscious engagement, emphasizing action even amidst rampant inaction, and kindness, especially amidst the congestion of apathy or antipathy. We are more alike in our similarities than we are different in our differences. Our differences are not a call. They are not permission to demonize and destroy one another. They instead are a challenge to come together and embrace one another. They are an appeal to greet strangers, to listen to others' perspectives, to help another in need, not because we must or it is easy, but because it is kind and because they are human. We do this not because of our similarities, but despite our differences. A house divided against itself cannot stand, Abraham Lincoln said. But the unsaid part is that a house united is worth more than the sum of its parts, and its stitching is an unassailable pledge to kindness. We can either through division fall, or by committing to kindness, rise together. So I ask that we be intentional, be conscious, be active, and above all else, be kind. To be less than these is to be less than human. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for that remarkable address. Now, Brittany Johnson, Assistant Professor of Music, will lead a group of our graduating seniors in the singing of the school song, St. Mary's College of Maryland, music by David Froome, Professor of Music, words by Jennifer Conyard-Black, Professor of English. The lyrics may be found in your program. Students, please come forward.
Hush and lovely woodlands enfold a tranquil bay that feeds and cools the fruitful earth, sustaining day by day. St. Mary's College of Maryland, green to the very door. In Maryland we strive and seek to find our heart's own shore. Bright daffodils and flaxen fields beneath the quiet sky inspire us to see anew and always question why. The moving altar mirrors all that stirs within our souls. Its harmony of wind and wave enlivens and consoles. St. Mary's College of Maryland, green to the very door. In Maryland we strive and seek to find our heart's own shore.
Thank you, Professor Johnson, and thank you, students. We're honored to welcome our commencement speaker today, Congressman Jamie Raskin. Raskin is in his 5th term representing Maryland's 8th congressional district in the House of Representatives. He is the ranking member on the House Committee on the Judiciary and was appointed to the Select Committee to investigate the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. He began serving Marylanders as a 3-term state senator from 2007 to 2016, rising to Majority Whip from 2012 to 2016. While in the Maryland Senate, Raskin earned a reputation for building coalitions in Annapolis to deliver a series of landmark legislative accomplishments, including marriage equality, abolition of the death penalty, passage of the first benefit corporation law in America, and the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. A graduate of Harvard College and Harvard Law School, Raskin was a professor of law at American University's Washington College of Law for over 25 years. He has authored several books, including We the Students, Supreme Court Cases for and About America's Students, and Overruling Democracy, the Supreme Court versus the American People, a Washington Post bestseller. Most recently, he penned the New York Times #1 bestseller, Unthinkable: Trauma, Truth, and the Trials of American Democracy. I present to you Congressman Jamie Raskin.
Hello, St. Mary's. President Jordan, distinguished faculty members, Chairman Bell, and members of the Board of Trustees, Katie Gantz, fine coaches, Congressman Hoyer, Meatball the cat, moms and dads and uncles and aunts and grandparents, siblings, cousins, friends, residents of Maryland's beautiful 8th District, the brilliant and discerning members of the committee that awarded me an honorary doctorate of human letters for today, Phi Beta Kappa inductees, but above all, to the 380 graduating students of the class of 2025, congratulations on this stupendously magnificent achievement on this glorious day. Congratulations, President Jordan, on your remarkable tenure here, and as a former state senator, I can vouch that your president is a very effective lobbyist. And greetings to your incoming president, Dr. Rhonda Phillips, and I'm saluting the board for its work in finding her. There's nothing I love more than a nonviolent transition to power. Thank you for this beautiful weather today as well. It's a lot nicer than in Washington, where it's not just the heat, it's the stupidity. And I'm glad that everybody made it back safely from the green door this morning or last night. I was told by one of your classmates that some people had mimosas, but the truly hardcore had a Tawanda Jordan, which is apparently a tequila and a Kahlua mixed together. That's no joke. I am honored to be receiving an honorary doctorate along with all of you in the graduating class. I now consider myself an honorary member of St. Mary's class of 2025. And I want to thank Sam for his beautiful speech. I loved your speech, and I think you're going to like mine, too. You know, when I first got this invitation to give the commencement address here, I had to laugh because the letter asked me to give all of my wisdom about constitutional democracy and current events. And I had once had a similar invitation like that from Justice Kennedy at the Supreme Court, who invited me to come to the court and to give all of my wisdom about the Constitution and public education after I wrote a book about that. And so I told my wife, Sarah, who never comes anywhere with me, you got to come because the Supreme Court invited me to give all of my wisdom. And so she came, and then she watched me speak, and then I, retired to what I thought was more than polite applause from the justices and their clerks. And I turned to Sarah and I said, "So what'd you think? How'd I do?" And she said, "Well, I don't know how much wiser they are, but they're definitely older." Okay? And you'll notice Sarah did not accompany me here today. Now, I know a lot of you did not actually get to enjoy a high school graduation proceeding, at least in person, because of COVID-19. So you're not necessarily familiar with all of the rites and traditions that accompany a graduation address. And I want to thank you for granting me the traditional 2 hours and 45 minutes for the commencement address today. I'm just kidding. I think I've been extended 15 minutes. I intend to use every one of them. At least. Thank you very much for having me. I want to start by saying that I know I am speaking to the soon-to-be graduates of one of the great liberal arts colleges of America. You are nourished here to become critical thinkers, to say what you mean, and to mean what you say, and you seek neither power nor advantage in your inquiries, but you seek truth and fairness for all, kindness. You are neither jaded nor cynical. You are not trained to be abstract hypothesizers and BSers, but serious and compassionate actors in the world. You have a strong sense of your own minds and hearts, but also of the actual existence of other people and of the outside world as well. The land, the air, the water, especially the water, the climate, and the earth. This, our one and only precious habitat in the universe. The graduates of a morally coherent community, you're poised to become thought and action leaders in the world, like many of the St. Mary's graduates who are my close friends and fill me with such hope and admiration, like Jessica Fitzwater, the Frederick County executive, a lifelong Marylander and passionate champion of education and the environment, people like the brilliant muckraking journalist and political essayist Ryan Grimm, a native-born Eastern Shore Marylander with a golden pen, which began to flow right here at St. Mary's. People like the passionate, pragmatic mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott, or the at-large DC City Councilman Robert White, a lucid advocate of democratic self-government for the capital city. Now, when you started here 4 years ago, you may have asked yourself, where will the river take you? And your class, as Sam said, is graduating at a moment of profound crisis for humanity and searing existential choice for each and every citizen. The river could be taking all of us to a place of danger or to a place of renewal. And I wish this were just commencement speech hyperbole, but it's not. When I graduated from college back in 1983 and we were all bedecked in hour caps and robes, there were basically two things people would say we'd be doing with our lives. One, they said that someone's going to Wall Street, by which they meant Wall Street and all of its allied endeavors like banking and real estate and corporate finance and so on. Or they said you were going to save the world, and this was always offered with just the slightest hint of mockery. Saving the world was a phrase used for people who were going to be doing almost anything other than investment banking or stock trading, like be an elementary school teacher or the Peace Corps, or be a therapist or a doctor or a nurse or a cancer researcher. And when they said with that trace of irony that you're going to save the world, they implied you were acting with some kind of self-dramatizing altruism that derailed you from life's central goal of making as much money as possible on Wall Street. And that was long before Elon Musk came along, a man who recently told us the main problem with America is that there's too much empathy here. Well, my friends, we face another fork in the road, as Musk might say. Either you're going to assist in what is the controlling political paradigm of the day, which I would call end of days fascism, or you are actually going to save the world. And here I use the phrase not mockingly or facetiously, but literally and urgently, because you are going to practice all of the skills and disciplines from biology to marine science to moral philosophy to literature to history, which are being demolished by the politics of our time, which are crushing human intelligence in the quest to convert society just into an instrument of artificial intelligence for someone else. Now, I've got a poster up in my office that one of my law students gave me in January of 2017 when I first was elected to Congress and entered the House the same month as Donald Trump entered his first presidential administration. And the poster is titled Early Warning Signs of Fascism. It comes from an article published in April 2003 by Lawrence Britt, a writer who spent years studying the common features of 7 different fascist regimes. And the sign reads, Early Warning Signs of Fascism, powerful and continuing nationalism, disdain for human rights, identification of enemies as a unifying political cause, supremacy of the military, rampant sexism and misogyny, controlled mass media, obsession with national security, religion and government intertwined, corporate power protected, labor power suppressed, disdain for intellectuals and the arts, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, fraudulent elections and campaigns. And my student purchased that poster at the Holocaust Museum gift store, although this item has been removed from the store recently for reasons you can properly deduce. But what I like about the poster and the approach behind it is that by establishing certain family resemblances in these regimes, it alerts vigilant people in democratic societies to recognize when it is time to take action. I assume for most people, those warning signs are flashing red, screaming sirens by now. But here's my point. If we're engaged in a sustained, titanic, and perhaps final struggle on this small planet between the forces of democratic freedom and the forces of fascist authoritarianism, this is a battle unlike any we have ever seen before, and it requires all hands on deck. When we went through a dry run of this 8 years ago, I kept struggling to find the proper historical or literary analogy. It was going to be like World War II, with Churchill blowing the whistle, and then America and the democratic powers waking up from our slumber. No, it was going to be like 1984, with Winston and Julia fighting Big Brother and totalitarian surveillance. No, it was going to be like The Handmaid's Tale, where a theocratic movement will exploit environmental degradation to impose a misogynist regime on society but acts of individual defiance would save us. No, it'll be like the fight between the Union and the radical Reconstructionists and the bastions of resurgent white supremacy and redemption in the postbellum South. No, it'll be like the American Revolution itself, a struggle for the dream of democratic self-government against an empire of monarchists and theocrats. But then it became clear to me, while every movement for democracy and freedom combines elements of prior fights, each period presents a radically unique mixture of historical ingredients. History doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes, as Mark Twain said. The future is always unwritten. What distinguishes the authoritarian siege of our times is that while it reenacts some elements of prior outbursts, it surpasses all of them because it does not just forecast and threaten the end of the world in order to terrify and demoralize everybody. It actively prepares for and indeed likely guarantees the end of the world, for real, because it destroys effective climate action and lays out the red carpet for climate cataclysm as an extinction-level event. This is the real stage on which this sordid play is being performed. It's hard to remember, but we must, that before all this anti-woke authoritarian repression and Christian white nationalism began to rain down on us, we were focused as a country and a world on climate change, the inconvenient truth of global warming. We were changing public policy to avoid the tipping point of fatal levels of carbon concentration in the atmosphere. We were zeroing in not on trade wars or the mass firing of federal workers, but on proliferating extreme weather events, shrinking glaciers, vanishing polar bears, and the overriding imperative of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and spreading renewable energy that would enable us to break from the lethal carbon economy. Well, authoritarian politics today not only is in denial of climate science, not only is it dismantling all environmental progress we've been making, shredding clean air and clean water regulations, and pulling the plug on the Paris Climate Accord, but if it has its way, it will drive us into unmanageable climate chaos and make it impossible for us to avoid environmental apocalypse. Even as they pretend that climate change is a hoax, the forces of authoritarianism today are organized around the certainty of climate collapse. The billionaire techno-oligarchs of Silicon Valley, like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, are adamant that democracy is dead and a new form of monarchism, they say, will emerge. Their intellectual guru, self-proclaimed neo-monarchist Curtis Yarvin, told the New York Times just several weeks ago that the American people must overcome our fear of the word dictatorship. Dictators, we are told, are just like the CEOs of large corporations. What we need, they say, is a nationwide dictator for the corporate dictators who are the actual rulers of society. This corporate state, run with artificial intelligence, now being planned by the richest men in the world, is obviously a long way from the founder's dream of we the people, the consent of the governed, and acting in defense of the unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The dark enlightenment, as they call themselves, threatens the actual enlightenment and all of the great achievements of American democracy, like Medicaid, Social Security, Head Start, and SNAP, all of which they say must be crushed. And there are other significant elements in the authoritarianism that threatens us today. The first family has no dreams of interplanetary relocation to Mars, which is what Elon Musk wants to do, but they're interested in the get-rich-quick plunder of this planet's economy, the destruction of any boundaries between public office and private profit-making in our country, and the obliteration of all legal accountability. And of course, finally, there's a theological element to it. For the dominant group, the book of Revelation foretells the specific events of the apocalypse and the rapture, which they say are coming soon. Evangelical ministers in megachurches across the land preached that there will be a final bloody war, the most bloody battle ever recorded in the history of the world, as Reverend John Hagee, the Texas televangelist and founder of Christians United for Israel, puts it. This final battle at Armageddon will make way for Jesus' return in the rapture, when his followers will ascend to heaven and live 1,000 years in perfect peace, while the rest of us will have 1,000 years of tribulation and ceaseless violence below. This is not something to be avoided, they say, but to be expected and welcomed, and this belief is a driving force in our politics today. Well, you get the picture, and now I have only 2 minutes left to rekindle a sense of hope and fight in you for the other path here, which is the path of democracy and freedom, human rights, the rule of law, literature, education, research, and art. And I can't prepare you for that path in 2 minutes, but that's all right, because the last 4 years of your time at St. Mary's have been your real preparation for this moment, because you embody the St. Mary's way. As Tom Paine said, the mind once enlightened cannot again become dull. You have learned critical thinking skills from some of the most brilliant professors in the land. They have trained you in the arts of intellectual self-defense against dogma and superstition and propaganda. Voltaire said, anyone who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. So you will never join a cult of any kind at all, religious or political. You have something better now that has been ingrained into you, which is a sense of real community. Vice President Vance said recently, professors are the enemy. And he quoted Richard Nixon saying, professors are the enemy. Write it down 100 times on the blackboard. You know the truth is the opposite. Most professors are the enemies only of tyrants. Professors are your friends, and the best professors can become your best intellectual friends for life. So don't lose them. You've made lifelong friends here that will stand by you through the fight. Polonius said in Hamlet, the friends thou hast in their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. You have learned how to take care of yourself and other people at the same time. You have learned to sail through howling winds and choppy waters. You have learned to feel the fear of stormy weather, but to metabolize the fear and to act in concert with others to find solid ground. Act tough and be strong. If you make yourself a sheep, Ben Franklin said, the wolves will eat you. Never give in to despair or revulsion at humankind. If at all you can help it. The world I live in is loathsome to me, Camus said, but I feel one with the men who suffer in it. And remember always the beauty and promise of America, which is made exceptional not because it is magically immune to the forces of racism or anti-Semitism or fascism, but because the people have always insisted that we will move forward to form a more perfect union. The United States themselves are essentially the greatest poem, said Walt Whitman. And keep close the words of Edward Abbey, who said, a patriot must always be ready to defend his country against his government. So I will leave you finally with the words of two great patriots and a philosopher. Frederick Douglass, who was born just 45 minutes away at the Wye River Plantation and escaped from slavery to become our great freedom fighter through the Civil War and Reconstruction, said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. And the struggle may be moral, it may be physical, it may be moral and physical, but there must be struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. I want to quote to you Wittgenstein, a passage that my son Tommy loved. And Wittgenstein said, the truth of an empirical proposition is whether it corresponds to reality. The truth of an analytical proposition is whether it corresponds to the laws of logic. But the truth of a moral proposition is the courage with which we act to make it real in the world. And I'll leave you finally with the words of the great Tom Paine, who our son Tommy was named after. And you know, Paine got over to America in 1774, 2 years before the Revolution. He fell in love with the promise and the ideals of this country. He said, if this nation lives up to its values, it will become an asylum to humanity. Not an insane asylum, mind you, but a place of refuge for people seeking freedom from intellectual and religious and political oppression all over the world. And he wrote the greatest pamphlet of our times, of our history, Common Sense, by which he meant the sense we have in common when we're willing to reason together without dogma and superstition. But anyway, 1776 was a tough year, and George Washington had the troops reading Common Sense by campfire light to each other, but Paine wanted to write another pamphlet to give people hope that they could actually defeat the greatest empire that ever existed, and all the kings and the queens and the autocrats and everybody who wanted to oppress the people. And the country was divided. Half of the people were saying, you can't beat monarchs and kings and queens and aristocrats, and you can't disentangle church and state. But half of the people said, let's give it a try. Let's pledge to ourselves our sacred honor, our lives, our property, to make it happen, to build a nation that would rest on the consent of the governed and would be devoted to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and the rights of all. But Paine said, I'm going to update the language here pursuant to strict instructions from Nancy Pelosi, who told me that Tom Paine was a feminist and he wouldn't mind. So I'm going to update the language so as not to offend modern sensibilities. But Paine said, these are the times that try men and women's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink at this moment from the service of their cause and their country. But everyone that stands with us now will win the love and the favor and the affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end will be our victory. Let's make that victory ours. Congratulations, class of 2025.
I need you here to my right.
That was working. I tried to write a non-political one.
That was quite a speech. I'm glad it ended on a positive note, because in the middle I was just like, oh crap, this is not going well. We got to get to a better place here. All right. It is with great pleasure that the college presents to you an honorary degree and a doctoral hood. I would like to ask Board Chair John Bell, he's here, and so is Professor Anderson. We're going to do our due. Congressman Raskin, as educators, parents, and citizens of this great country, we often seek examples of those who are making a difference, doing the right thing, teaching others, and never giving up in the face of adversity. And while politics is a rough and tumble place to find exemplary behavior, especially now, you have demonstrated an ability to rise above the clamor and seek meaningful change as you embrace the ideals of what the United States stands for and yet still can be. You have dedicated your life to education and public service, starting with your own achievements as a young student who graduated magna cum laude with a BA from Harvard and then a magna cum laude from Harvard Law, and as an editor of the Harvard Law Review. For more than 25 years, you taught constitutional law at American University and earned AU's top academic honor as a Scholar Teacher of the Year chosen by students. You then went to government, first as a Maryland State Senator and then on to the U.S. House of Representatives as the Congressman from Maryland 8th District, where you have served for the past 8 years. I'm going to read a quote. My ambition is not to be in the political center, but the moral center, end quote. It's a comment you once said and have held to that notion with persuasive intellect and political grace, despite tough assignments that focused on the impeachment hearings, the Capitol insurrection, political extremism, discrimination, and other divisive national issues, all while still embracing human rights, civil liberties, and justice for all. Beyond the professional world, you also have taught us lessons on being human and humane as a cancer survivor, and the strength you showed as a parent who lost a young son much too early in life. Jamie Raskin, we thank you for your commitment to country, progressive ideals, for being a role model for our students, Maryland citizens, and for all Americans. In recognition of your exemplary leadership, St. Mary's College of Maryland bestows upon you a Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, in recognition of your exemplary leadership. We've done it again. So now I present to you your honorary degree as bestowed upon by Chair Bell. Pudding.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do you want to speak more, or you want to say?
I'll just say thank you.
That's very good. Thank you. I better say something. All right. Thank you. So congratulations, Congressman Raskin. So due to other commitments, the congressman will leave in a couple of minutes. Don't think it's anything that I said. So we just want to thank him one more time for being with us to celebrate this occasion. Students, families, and guests, we are approaching that moment when we bring forward each of the 386 students who has earned either a baccalaureate or master's degree from St. Mary's College of Maryland. Vice President Gantz, will you please come forward?
Thank you, President Jordan. Today's degrees will be presented in two groups in succession. We will first award undergraduate degrees alphabetically by major to students who have earned either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. Then we will award degrees to students who have earned a Master of Arts in Teaching. Madam President, the candidates who come before you now have successfully completed at St. Mary's College of Maryland all the educational requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology, Ricardo Alvarado Santa, with a concentration in archaeology and a minor in museum studies. Yasmin Isabel Cesares Ramirez, with a concentration in archaeology, second major in Spanish, minors in museum studies and educational studies, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Sarah Margaret Entner, with a minor in museum studies, summa cum laude. William Lewis Faulkner, with a second major in Asian studies, magna cum laude. Adina Kayla Field, with a concentration in archaeology, minor in museum studies. Jason Riley Hergenrader, with a minor in museum studies. Emilia Holly Romano, with a concentration in archaeology, minors in history and museum studies, cum laude. Hannah Michelle Shelton, with a concentration in archaeology. Taylor Ray Simon, with a minor in biology, cum laude. Jada Ann White. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Art, Keith Alexander Amamu Baku. Brooke Lynn Patricia Chapman with a minor in Educational Studies, cum laude. Kang Tuan Don with a minor in Business Administration and Management. Brittany Leanne Fowler, summa cum laude. Victoria S. Godfrey with a second major in Mathematics, minors in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Nicole C. Gunderson. Christiana Lee Howard. Anna E. Klein with a minor in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Jonathan Stephen Lopez. Melissa Martinez. Hannah Elizabeth McQueen with a minor in Educational Studies. Vincent Stevenson, cum laude. Amanda Erin Swank with a minor in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Chloe Brianna Tolson. Selena Maria Trachillis, cum laude. Emma Caroline Verdier with a minor in French. Amari Kam Chantras Weathers with minors in Museum Studies and Anthropology. Samantha Lane White with a minor in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Hayden Manning Walensky with a second major in Business, magna cum laude. Eleanor C. Woodbury with a minor in Museum Studies, summa cum laude. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, Emily Rose Friedman with a second major in Biology, cum laude. Aiden Elizabeth Glover with a minor in Mathematics, cum laude. Emelina Janeka Kleidendorst Grimm with minors in Spanish and Biology. Jonas Asefa Ibrahim with a second major in Biology. Tamani Jada Kingsland. Amy Mawulawe Kuma with a second major in Biology, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Yodahe Yenahet Shimelis with a second major in Biology, magna cum laude. Isabella Karis Schindler with a second major in Biology. James Luke Schwenk with a minor in Biology, cum laude. Cole C. Vonderheide. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology, Alejandro M. Adams with a minor in Spanish. Ryan Joseph Barkdahl, magna cum laude. Gia Marie Magalus Castaneda. Grace Catherine Caldell. Victoria Rose Chazen with a second major in Art, cum laude. Kaylee Johanna Christman, with a second major in Environmental Studies, minor in Studio Art, cum laude. Samuel Perry Cross. Meredith Brame Dance. Axel Juanshi DeFrays with minors in Environmental Studies and Museum Studies, cum laude. Tiffany Hako Salem Dioko. Samantha Diane Dishong, cum laude. Anna Charlene Estremsky, with a second major in neuroscience. Nabila Ezeliana. Joel Regan Galizarza, with a minor in neuroscience. Josie Lynn Gardner, cum laude. Patton Lee Harbert, with a second major in environmental studies, cum laude. Sophia Evelyn Kuntz, cum laude. Madison Eve Long, cum laude. Elena Lusk, with a second major in marine sciences, cum laude. Elizabeth Grace Matthews, magna cum laude. Jackson Matthew McLean, minor in Spanish, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Patrick James Oki, summa cum laude. Finn Thomas Parkinson, second major in business administration. Haley Marie Roche, with a second major in biochemistry. Miles Thomas Walker Sampson. Maya Hope Skirka. Emma Catherine Louise Stewart, with a second major in art. Ezra Lee Tapanier. Julie Ann Tippett. Judith Ann Wanamaker, with a minor in theater studies, cum laude. Elizabeth Kelly Wilmarth, with a second major in mathematics. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration and Management, Emmanuel A. Duge, with a second major in mathematics, minor in economics. Brandon Michael Gonzalez. Kyle Thomas Henry, with a minor in economics. Jace Allen Jett. Skylar C. Kaplan, with a minor in art studio. Grayson William Kelly. Mackenzie Janae Nettleton, with a minor in sociology, cum laude. Bryant Edward Palmer, with a minor in economics. Zachary Stewart Vuk, with a minor in economics. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Nathan Richard Book, with a minor in Educational Studies, cum laude. Mordecai Mizani Levitt, with a second major in art, magna cum laude. Sophia Neppel. Frank Joseph Newman. Abiola Olawalahu Adialipo. Tri Hu Fan. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Charlie Gus Blakelock. Jacob Andrew Brooks. Leah Johnston Carroll, with a minor in English, cum laude. Kester Ifiani Ebo. Nathan Gurma. Devin James Gorell, with a second major in mathematics, summa cum laude. Kayla Amanda Gormley, magna cum laude. Oliver Elliott Meyer, with a minor in English. Alexander Jan Ockman. Daniel Andres Reyna. Amelia Erin Simpson with a minor in art studio, summa cum laude. Kendall Toft, cum laude. Philip Arthur Wade. Margin Arielis Aubrey Ward with a second major in Spanish, computer science. Jeffrey Logan Wood with a minor in mathematics. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Economics, Cohen Joshua DeWalt with a second major in Business, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Gavin Thomas Hall with a minor in mathematics. Camila Paula Levia with a minor in biology and mathematics. Sophia Larissa Leshishin with a second major in business administration, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Lydia Hailu McConnon with a minor in business and management. Nathaniel Ensley Norris with minors in political science and business administration. Kristen Anne-Marie Sabatini with a second major in business administration. Samuel Warren Shuno. Riley E. Sidner with a second major in business, minor in sociology, cum laude. Maxwell Dennis Taylor, cum laude. Charles Beck Weidmeyer with a second major in business administration. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English, Arnold R. Beck with a minor in educational studies, cum laude. Bryce Holland Carlin with a minor in history, magna cum laude. Emma Cassidy Sissel with a minor in creative writing, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Sarah Elizabeth Daly with a minor in women, gender, and sexuality studies. Emily A. Feldman with a minor in creative writing, summa cum laude. Bana Bersabo Gazai with a second major in sociology, minor in educational studies, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Elias Alexander Hall with minors in creative writing and theater studies. Anna Elise Landis with a minor in creative writing, magna cum laude. Ellis Jabari Lee with a minor in art studio, magna cum laude. Esther Markov with minors in creative writing and theater studies, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Dakota Rain Mazuzan Blackwell with a minor in creative writing. Bridget Catherine Mulholland with a minor in political science. Megan Shelby Musselman with a minor in educational studies, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Rhodes with a second major in biology, minor in creative writing, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Morgan Sorrell with minors in history and women, gender, and sexuality studies, magna cum laude. Emily Lynette Vance, cum laude. Devin Elise Wason, minor in Spanish, magna cum laude. Claire Elizabeth Whedon with a minor in creative writing, summa cum laude. Athena Wheatley with minors in creative writing and educational studies, cum laude. Anais Laure Williams with minors in political science and French. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Studies, Dylan William Baker, cum laude. Anaya Melissa Coates, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Joseph Leonard Colasaco. Devin Dubiaco Crane. Sarah Catherine Dapp. Lochran Finn Dowd. Lauren E. Drayetta. Peyton Swenton Eppard with a minor in English. Amber Hope Gieske with minors in biology and French, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Guy with a minor in English, magna cum laude. Owen Francis Hennessy with a minor in political science. Jack Ryan Hohen. Holly Anna Hoffman with a minor in biology, cum laude. Jordan Nicole Johnson with a minor in anthropology, cum laude. Chrysanthi Eleni Kalamanis with a second major in philosophy, magna cum laude. Savannah Delaney Kreider with a second major in international education, Spanish, cum laude. Ariana Jean Lacoris with minors in English, History, African Diaspora Studies, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Caitlin Elizabeth Lennon Putoff, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Kendall Rose McHugh with a second major in art, minor in Chinese, magna cum laude. Thomas Nathaniel Meisner with a minor in anthropology. Callie Grace Mullenix. Christopher Way Nemes, cum laude. Henry Morgan Russell with a second major in political science, cum laude. Camden Flasterer Spielman with minors in Chinese and biology, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Aaron E. Tomasoni. Michael Westwood Wade with a minor in educational studies, summa cum laude. Lillian Michael Walker with a minor in educational studies, minors in anthropology, magna cum laude. Raymond Paul Weiss. Tiffany Marie Wheeler with a minor in biology. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Tyler Tews Campbell with a second major in political science. Joseph David Carson with a minor in educational studies. Casey Lynn Firm with minors in educational studies and anthropology. Ben James Johnson, magna cum laude. Liam Maloney Johnston with minors in educational studies and museum studies. Tiffany Ireland Colota with minors in English and educational studies. Carter Logan Lenz with a minor in anthropology. Alicia Lewis with minors in anthropology and African diaspora studies, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Caitlin Jamie Maljak with a second major in anthropology, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Vincent Gabriel Balin Marteja with a minor in museum studies. Luke Paul Miller with a minor in anthropology. Caleb Andrew Montgomery. Caleb Michael Newton with minors in educational studies and African diaspora studies, summa cum laude. Joshua C. Popielski with a minor in educational studies. Ella Elizabeth Price, magna cum laude. Mortimer Pierre Shiflett with a minor in political science. Ethan Lee Sklar with a minor in museum studies. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in International Languages and Cultures, Julia Claire Carter, concentration in Spanish, second major in psychology, minor in educational studies, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Roni Salgado with a concentration in Spanish, second major in political science. Emma Jane Shepard, concentration in Spanish, second major in environmental studies, minor in computer science, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Marine Science, Cicely Ann Clark, with a second major in biology, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Maddie Ray Clemmer. Brittany Murray Douglas, with a second major in biology. Charlotte Ann Horn, with a second major in environmental studies, magna cum laude. Kayla Victoria Illig. Gavin Michael Kinch. Robert Neil Kuntz, summa cum laude. Margot Claire Laborie. Pauline Ellen Lawrence, with a second major in biology, summa cum laude. Lillian Elizabeth Newman, with a minor in biology, magna cum laude. Sophia N. Papaganos, with a minor in biology, cum laude. Kylie Jordan Wells, with minors in biology and environmental studies, magna cum laude. August Roholt Westorp, with a minor in biology. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Hayden Edward Aberdeen, with a minor in educational studies. Kelsey Danielle Anderson, minor in educational studies. Tyler Aaron Brown, magna cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth Cooney. Isabel Adelina Peters, with a minor in educational studies. Gregory H. Fitzgerald. Chloe Ann Garnish, with a minor in economics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Ryan Renee Knight, with a minor in French, cum laude. Elena Renee Sievert, minor in educational studies, summa cum laude. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Music, Leon Henry Carrington. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience, Nicolo Noah Bloom. Grace Catherine Duke. Michelle Kara Halper, cum laude. Elise Njoki Kinyayuji, with a second major in psychology, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Morgan McKenna Cressline, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Karen Lopez Perez, with a second major in psychology. Samuel D. Meisel. Christina Rose Rutherford, with a second major in psychology, magna cum laude. Giovanna Danielle Snyder. Cassidy Lynn Wallace, with a second major in public policy. Amira Zobayer. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Performing Arts, Catherine April Adams, concentration in music, minors in educational studies and Spanish, magna cum laude. Mariana Borrero Cruz, with a concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies, summa cum laude. Mark Andrew Gilas Britos, with a concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies, minor in educational studies, summa cum laude. Catherine Choina, with a concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies, minor in music, magna cum laude. Thane Wyatt Kolchakov, with a concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies. Diavanti Larsirik Levy, concentration in music. Tatiana Beatriz Lopez Guevara, concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies. Pierre-Jacques Petitjean, with a concentration in music, minor in educational studies, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Christina Marie Sales, with a concentration in music. Summer J. Wells, with a concentration in theater, dance, and performance studies. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Blair Dickens, with a second major in English, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Patrick Harris Dolan, with a minor in music. Michaela Eileen Violette Hewitt Clark, with a minor in political science. Diana Graciela Levitt, with a second major in English, minor in Spanish. Kirby Zane Nwobi Obi, with a minor in anthropology. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Theodore Francis Baum, with a second major in mathematics, summa cum laude. Grayson Y. Kolchakov, with a minor in mathematics. Alexis Annika Komwembe, with a minor in mathematics, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Amber Lee Manspeaker, with a second major in mathematics, summa cum laude. Alex Stornelli, with a minor in mathematics. Matthew Jason Veek, with minors in mathematics and educational studies. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, April Arlene Anderson, magna cum laude. Charles Hayden Anderson, second major in Public Policy Studies. Jack David Bowling. Matthew Eugene Bragg. Estefany Cabrera Gonzalez, minor in Spanish. Cameron R. Charter. Hudson Thomas Christensen, with a second major in Public Policy Studies. Zoe Catherine Hochter. Christine Renee Hudson, magna cum laude. Corey L. Hunter, with a minor in sociology. Samuel Parizek, with a second major in English, summa cum laude. Maggie May Pilkerton. Rufus Owen Hughes Roundy, magna cum laude. Blessing Chisholm Samuel, minor in philosophy. Elodie Rose Scala. Ashley Wilder Smith, with a minor in educational studies. Emma Jane Tawney, with a second major in public policy, minor in sociology. Aiden Christopher Trump, with a second major in public policy studies. Jack Kenneth Yule, magna cum laude. Jack Andrew Weinberg, with a second major in philosophy. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology, Molly Sue Antonucci, with a minor in neurosciences, magna cum laude. Malak Tigist Armstrong, minor in Spanish, cum laude. Hanak T. Badasso, with a minor in philosophy. Colton Roy Blackistone, with a minor in educational studies. Alessandra Borsting, with a minor in educational studies, magna cum laude. Caroline Margaret Boone, with a minor in special education, magna cum laude. Trinity Jade Boone. Ember Rivka Bragger, with a minor in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Thomas Calvin Brennan, with a minor in Neurosciences, cum laude. Madeline Banks Carter, with a minor in Educational Studies. Sanai A. Chase, with a minor in Educational Studies. Raven Lynn Davis. Bianca Abigail Falby, with a minor in Chinese. Leslie Sarahi Fuentes Noches, minors in Spanish and Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies. Alba Julia Gonzalez Ventura, with a minor in Neurosciences. Austin Murphy Graham, with a second major in Spanish. Evelyn B.B. Gregory, with minors in Spanish and Art Studio, cum laude. Giselle Nicole Harris, with a second major in International Languages and Cultures Spanish, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Corinne Veronica Hines, with a minor in Educational Studies. Margaret E. Jacobs, with minors in Philosophy and Art Studio, summa cum laude. Daisha Nyla Jones. Logan Michael Klassmeyer. Holly Rose Kobialka, with a minor in Creative Writing, summa cum laude. Ethan Robert Lifson Book, with a minor in Educational Studies, magna cum laude. Nadia Brigitta Lawnberg, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Shannon Rebecca Lutz, minor in Political Science, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Maria Alexandra Maldrugina. Jillian Taylor Mazingo, with a minor in Educational Studies, summa cum laude. Mary Rose Margaret McAvoy, minors in Ed Studies and Spanish. Molly Grace Mahue, with second major in Spanish, cum laude. Leonardo Pio Montenegro, with a second major in Spanish, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Tessa Marie Lynn Newton, with a minor in Art Studio. Connor Charles O'Callahan, with minors in Music and Philosophy. Gabriella Aria Pallister, with a minor in Neurosciences. Zoe Elizabeth Picker, cum laude. Abigail Hannah Pisanik. Joseph Michael Plass. Elizabeth Grace Poissant. Helen Martina Mikhailik Sansenbacher, with a minor in Philosophy. Alejandro Andres Silva, with a minor in Political Science. Brianna Nicole Smith, with a minor in Educational Studies, cum laude. Claire Patricia Stevenson, with a minor in Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies. Lorelei Madison Sims, magna cum laude. Helmla Tawidos Tamagan, with a minor in Sociology, cum laude. Jaden Anthony Washington. Thomas Alexander Zabriskie. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Public Policy, Lannon Claire Fritz, with minors in Music, Environmental Studies, summa cum laude. Brianna Isabella Sosa Rojas, second major in Economics, minor in Business Administration. Nadia Shea Velasco, with a second major in economics, minor in sociology, cum laude. Garrett Michael Weldon. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Sociology, Khalid Oliampo Balogan. Lucia Marta Kangalosi. Ashlyn Claire Conley, with minors in Business Administration and Economics, cum laude. Nia Renee DeLauter, with a minor in Anthropology. Santiago Alejandro Duran, with a minor in Political Science, cum laude. Grace Francesca Galifaro, with minors in History and Political Science, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Grace Anita Gilmore, with a minor in Special Education. Emily Elizabeth Henderson Adams, minors in Women, Gender, and Sexuality, African Diaspora Studies, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Abigail Iris Houston, with minors in Art Studio and Political Science, magna cum laude. Rebecca Morgan Julka, with minor in Educational Studies. Caleb Paul Minyard, with a minor in Anthropology. Misha Blaze Latoya Shoup. Megan Latessa Stamba, with a minor in Educational Studies, magna cum laude. Haley Elizabeth Town, with a minor in Women, Gender, and Sexuality, summa cum laude. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Student-Designed Majors, Anthony Domenico Lanzano, writing for film. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching, Courtney L. Anderson, with a certification in History and Social Studies, grades 7 through 12. Gabrielle Lorraine Castle Smith, with a certification in Physics, grades 7 through 12. Catherine Grace Dennis, certification in art, grades pre-K through 12. Anna Lauren Eaton, with a certification in special education, grades 1 through 8. Courtney Jenkins, with a certification in art, grades pre-K through 12. Sabrina Marie Kuhn, with certifications in math, grades 7 through 12. Austin Tyler Olunik, with a certification in music, grades pre-K through 12. Rachel Erin O'Neill, with a certification in special education, grades 1 through 8. Jaden Sebastian Osterhaus, with a certification in history and social studies, grades 7 through 12. Joseph Robert Resta, with a certification in history and social studies, grades 7 through 12. Cadence Allison Rice, with a certification in biology, grades 7 through 12, and environmental education. Phoebe Dejanay Tate, with a certification in English, grades 7 through 12. Catherine McCarran Treebwasser, with a certification in elementary with early childhood certification, grades pre-K through 6. Benjamin Perrin Wheely, with a certification in history and social studies, grades 7 through 12. Madam President, this concludes all 225 candidates for degrees at St. Mary's College of Maryland. Congratulations, graduates.
You guys sit. Thank you. Class of 2025, please stand for the charge. My charge to you, the class of 2025. You have done well here at St. Mary's College of Maryland, where you have studied and learned in the finest liberal arts tradition. As you sail through this to that, and moving beyond the banks of this river into the world, my expectation is that you will take your passions, your skills, and the knowledge you have gained at this place to create a more just and humane society for all. Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science graduates, to symbolize the milestone culminating in today's ceremony, please move your tassel to the left. Notice that I did see some of you not knowing which side was the left. You're gonna have to do that again. All right, bachelor recipients, you are now alumni of St. Mary's College of Maryland. Master recipients, you're now alumni squared. Congratulations. Do you guys want to sit down? No, keep standing. The ceremony now concludes with our recessional march, a special tradition at St. Mary's College. That platform, I need water. The platform party, along with the faculty, will be led to an area outside of the back of the tent where we will form a line. The new graduates, now our alumni, will then pass through this line to receive our congratulations. After passing through this line, you are then free to go join your loved ones. So please remain standing as the platform party and our new graduates exit. Thank you to your families, friends, and all other supporters of these wonderful students for joining us here today and witnessing the graduation of the class of 2025. I bid you goodwill and peace. Thank you.